Welcome back to another episode of Cooking Random Things in Distant Countries with your host Cyrus, still in my apartment in Jakarta, Indonesia, and I want to talk about kind of how locals eat, and a quick way to put together a meal that costs probably about 30 cents, maybe 50 cents with the apple. So this is mi goreng Aceh, which basically there's a lot of different types of what we would call top ramen available in the shelves here in Indonesia. Now, if you've ever eaten top ramen, you get the basic idea, but out here it comes with a lot more spices and things instead of just a normal seasoning to make it closer to the traditional style noodles that you'll find for sale in the restaurants. So it is better tasting than normal top ramen. Mi goreng means fried noodle, and so the instructions say to just boil the noodle like ramen, add the spices, and serve. But I learned from a girlfriend I had out here once that most of the time the people will boil it then fry the noodle to make it like more like literal fried noodles. So we're going to do that, and we'll also add a couple extra ingredients as well. So once again, this is my little kitchen with this little tiny burner stove, which definitely does the trick. Of course, I have up here Madeline's 3rd birthday mug. It's still my very, very masculine mug that I like to use this just to reaffirm my masculinity. I think that's important to do when you're traveling. So as we can see, the water is boiling. So what we are going to do is add the dehydrated noodles. I'm not going to make an argument that this is particularly healthy dish, but if we get some fruit in the dish, which we're going to, then we can make it a little bit better. Now I have a spatula here someplace. If you saw a couple videos back, I did finally find a plastic spatula. So as usual with ramen, you just have to kind of monitor it. You don't want to let it cook for too long. It does take a level of skill. You have to be able to time it just correctly. You want to chop it all up, break it apart. Ramen kind of like cooking egg. People underestimate it. They think, oh, anybody who's lived in a college dorm knows how to cook ramen, but it's amazing how many people I knew back when I was young. Well, I guess I still am young, arguably, who couldn't cook ramen to save their lives, because if you cook it for like 30 seconds longer than you should, then the noodle can become squishy. Same thing if you don't, if you don't remove it from the heat fast enough, it'll be too crunchy. I just kind of eyeball it. So we use a fork to kind of look at the consistency. I can kind of feel the consistency with my fork. Like looking at this right now, I'm going to guess we have a minute or two left. Okay, I'm back. I didn't really want to make a cut because then I'll have to go into the editor and it's going to take a lot of time, but here we are anyway. Had to make a cut. So we were making a local Indonesian, basically cheap, under $1 meal, spicing it up a little bit. But first, I just want to show you guys a little bit about what it looks like from my balcony. Right about this time of evening, we begin to hear the Muslim calls to prayer, which I quite enjoy. I think it's a very like relaxing or meditative kind of music. But yep, here we are, kind of in central slash southern Jakarta. It's a concrete jungle, a never-ending just labyrinth of skyscrapers and small shanty buildings. But hey, you know, I really like it. Anyway, let's go back into the kitchen and finish off what we were doing. So the ramen's finished. I just kind of eyeballed it, came out perfect. So what we're going to do is we already boiled the ramen and cooked it, but we're going to cook it again by frying it. But I want to saute some apple first. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer the noodles to this smaller plate. Now we're going to add a little bit of the cooking oil. So it's probably really unhealthy. Now we have a bunch of diced apple. Let's turn the burner on. And I'm just going to toss this in. Chop some of these up a little bit more. This is about 1/2 of an apple. So I just want to kind of caramelize it a little bit, soften it. This will probably take a couple minutes. Okay, with the apples done, now we're going to add the spice packets from the noodles. So this recipe came with these 3 different oils, spices. So as you can see, this is a lot more than you'd find like in American bought Manchurian top ramen. So I opened up all these at once, so I'm just going to pour them in at the same time. That red chili paste is pretty spicy, but fortunately it's not, you know, it's not too much in this packet, so it's not going to overwhelm me. If I eat food that's too spicy, it messes me up. Gives me some GI problems, if you know what I mean. So I already opened up. This is the flavoring packets. Let's see, I should have some holes in these already. Some things you just can't do one-handed, so that was one such task. So I've emptied out these flavoring packets as well. I'm going to give this a stir. I'm going to add a dash more of the cooking oil. That's about good. I'm going to turn this back on. Now we have the noodles we boiled. We're going to add this back in. Now we're going to really kind of stir it up. And while this is cooking, I'm going to quickly crack open an egg. Now we have the apples, we have the egg, we have the noodles all being refried. Just keep them sticking. This is not a non-stick pan. Top weight here. I'm going to turn off the burner because I think this is cooked enough. So as you can see, we have some issue with the stickage of the pan. So I'm gonna get all that up real quick. Stand by. So there is our dish. To drink, of course, I have some left. The famous Pucuk Harum, the favorite tea of DJ Randy Williams here. I'm afraid I don't have much of this left, but hey, it's better than nothing. Man, I wish there was like a recycling thing here in this apartment. Indonesians don't seem to like to recycle very much. That's why Indonesia is the #2 biggest plastic polluter on the planet, next to China. Alright, so it's kind of the moment of truth here. Let's see how my dish came out. So I grabbed some apple, grabbed some of the noodle, and I'm going to take a bite. Yep. As I suspected, it's really good. The apple does a great job of kind of softening the spiciness and adding a nice texture as well. Egg adds extra flavor. So there we go. That whole dish costs about under $1. It's just the kind of stuff you can eat out here. You don't want to eat like this all the time because, I mean, it's fried food. I mean, it's not super healthy, folks. Like, I mean, I recommend going to a specialty grocery store where you can find actual fresh vegetables and, you know, cooking some actually healthy food. But if you're on a budget, you need, once a day you can probably eat something like this. It's not the end of the world, but I don't recommend it all the time. Oh yeah, one last thing. This meal is also vegetarian, so if you're vegan, the egg won't be so good, but otherwise, yeah. All right, this is Cyrus. I will be seeing you guys on the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the subscribe button while you're watching. Go down, hit the subscribe button, share it, hit the notification bell. Help keep this silly little channel in business. Okay, bye.